Alright, so my friend Rachel was curious how the sous vide process works. So I'm going to record another video to show how I do it. So what I have at home is this thing. It's not as fancy as the Sous by Chef Steps or the Innova Culinary, whatever the hell. Those are both controlled by an app from your phone, which kind of worries me on one side and then is super exciting on the other side. Like on one side, if the app doesn't work for some reason, you can't use the device. As far as I know, the Sous by Chef Steps and the Innova Culinary Precision, whatever the hell it's called, don't have any buttons. This thing has buttons on it. It's got one there and one there, and then it's got this dial. And it's pretty simple to use it. I got this at Walmart for like $75, $80-ish. I can't really remember exactly how much. It's called the Power Precision Pro, I think. It was in the As Seen on TV aisle at Walmart. So super easy. Let's say it was not plugged in. All right, so you just plug the little fucker in. And then once you decide, do you want to use Fahrenheit? Yes, of course I do, because this is America. Cooking chicken. The standard rule for chicken is 165 degrees for 15 seconds away from the heat source. But since we're using sous vide, we're essentially pasteurizing the food, so I can cook it at a much lower temperature. So if you wanted to change it, you would twist this dial to whatever temperature you want. And the highest it goes, yeah, is not super high. Right? Yeah. So that's the highest it goes. But I just want chicken that's still soft and very moist and delicious. So that's good on our temperature. If it was starting right now, 2 hours, 30 minutes would be roughly the time I normally eat dinner. So that's good to go. Now this one will not start the timer until the water bath reaches the same temperature that you have on the machine. So I'm just going to let that go. So I have 4 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. I always season food prior to putting it into the sous vide bath, just like you should all food. Essentially, because it's going to taste better, but mostly because we don't really like to salt food at the end of the process, because the diffusion rate of salt goes up by, I think, like a factor of 10, or no, it doubles every 10 degrees. Right, it doubles every 10 degrees. That temperature goes up from the salt's base temp. So if you put the salt in the food when it's done, all you're going to taste is salt. But we put it in the beginning, sometimes the middle, depending on what you're cooking. That's why you should always, if you read recipes, it says salt and pepper to taste. It's to what you like. But with raw food, you can't really say what you like, but you always, season generously. So season both sides. I'm doing essentially an African chili pepper mixture of sorts, yeah, but I'll go a little bit heavier on the non-skin side than I will on the skin side. On the skin side, I'm really going to finish that once the sous vide is complete. I'll take it out, I'll put it in a fucking hot ass pan, and I'll sear the absolute shit out of it, but it'll be done. It's not like you're trying to finish it. You're just trying to crisp up this skin to get delicious, crispy chicken skin. So chicken's going to go in the bag. Bag is going to go in the water bath to slowly cook it evenly throughout and around the entire product for whatever time it is that you put. For chicken, in my experience, $1.45 for anywhere from 2 to 6 hours is pretty good. 6 was almost too much. It didn't really hold its shape anymore. So I'm going right in the beginning, 2:30, it'll be fine. People say that, maybe it's not safe to eat. It is. It's just pasteurization. Read about chemistry. It'll be fine. So I don't really have a stand. Maybe that'll... Fuck. No. Maybe not. Whatever. It's going to work for now. So, essentially, you get your bag. and put your food in your bag. I thought about at one point getting vacuum bags, but they're just as awful for the environment as a standard heftier Ziploc bag, and you can't, open them up or do anything else. Or I don't really know what I was going for when I started that argument, but essentially it's no better necessarily than a hefty bag, and a vacuum sealer is a painfully expensive piece of equipment if all you're doing is just playing around at home. And really, the only reason I would use it for would be sous vide, or if I had a proper vacuum sealing machine, I would use it for making drinks. So you want to get all the air out of your bag, but before I do that, I'm going to put in a few aromatics. Nicely scented, super delicious. Where the fuck did they go? Yeah, aromatics. So for chicken, I personally like thyme and oregano. And you can just put these. You can just put these in your bag, very simply. Just drop little bastards in. Just chuck them in there. It's not really gonna matter. That beeping means that the sous vide has reached the proper temperature, and if when I put in this cold to room temperature-ish chicken, the temperature of the water bath gets lower than the 145 degrees that I've selected, the timer will stop, wait till the water bath gets up to the correct temperature, and then continue going on. Mainly because it's the cheaper version? I don't know. The one we have at work doesn't do that. You just set it to a temperature, and there is no timer, and that's all there is to it. So, all my aromatics. Shit. Not on the floor. Yep. And then just for a little bit more of that umami flavor, I like to play around with fish sauce. I'm not trying for something Asian. I just want, a little bit more of a savory, delicious flavor. I commonly use either soy sauce, fish sauce. I've used yeast flakes. I've used Marmite, and I've used essentially like a mushroom paste. Like I have a porcini and truffle paste in my fridge. I also have, where the fuck is it? This stuff. I got this at City Market, which is just Colorado's name for Kroger and King Soopers. So that works the same as a mushroom paste. So I'm gonna get the bag all figured out. There's the water bath from the inside. Rosemary. Oof, rosemary looks sad. Never mind, no rosemary. But fish sauce. Alright, when you're closing up your bag, you want to get out as much air as you possibly can. Not really because it'll affect the cooking process, but because you don't want this to float. Sous vide is the process, immersion circulator is the device. The circulator makes sure that water makes contact with all surfaces of your food as often as possible. So I like to close the bag 95% of the way, leaving a small gap, and then roll the bag with the food in it to push as much air as I can.